All right, everyone, we got Coach Nagy here with us. We'll let him start off, and then we'll open it up for questions.
All right, how's everybody doing? All right. First of all, I want to start off. We just got back in from the walkthrough, and I want to just say thank you to all the rookies that we had in here, all of our coaches. I thought they did a great job the last couple of days. Today was a much later day. We did that on purpose so that we could give these guys a little bit of recovery here before we jump into our deal tomorrow with these guys. So I think they needed it, and they deserved it too. They did a great job mentally and physically. So I think with that, that's all I have. I'll go ahead and open it up to everybody else here.
First question, Hub?
Matt, I have a football question, but first I got to know, how much of a relief was it to be on the field today? How much was the adrenaline going? How'd you feel when you got out there?
Oh, it was awesome. You forget even, just the short time that it's been from the end of the year, and just getting back out here on the grass and seeing everybody, and you just feel free. So it's Adam asked me the question yesterday about what's it like seeing it virtually versus this. And I said it was different, but it's really different. Being able to see these guys' faces and talk to them and meet them today for the first time is really what it's all about. So I tried to soak it up as much as I could.
So my question is I know you're going to have a plan for Justin and for the quarterbacks, and I realize you may not share all of that with us, but after today, now whatever activities you have will be a mix of veterans and rookies. So how are you going to work out the reps? Because Andy is starting from scratch too.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's something that Bill, myself, and Flip are going to talk about, which we've talked about already, because we want to have a plan when those guys get in here, is making sure that that Andy, like you're saying, for the first time he gets in here, that he's being able to get in here and do what he needs to do. He's essentially like a rookie as well. So he's going to get, a good amount of reps on the front end. And then with Justin and Nick, we're going to work through that whole process and discuss it with those guys and really just let those guys, I think the way you all can look at this for us moving forward here the next several weeks is there's going to be a lot of class on the grass and mental for these guys. So we'll try to do some breaking the huddle and learning some different tempos that we have and the mechanics of that without doing a whole lot physically. So that, the next several weeks will be very mental and reps will be included there. So we're going to put that all together here tonight and make sure we're ready to go rock and roll for tomorrow.
Cheryl?
Hi, Coach Nagy. Glad you're able to get back on the field.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Did you notice anything? Because, it is different when you're watching an iPad. It is different when you're watching on a Zoom call. What did you notice? What are some of the intangibles you may have noticed in Justin Fields or some of the other players on the field?
Well, the number one thing that you recognize when you're there on the field with these guys is their size, right? And that's everybody, whether you're smaller or bigger than what you think somebody is. But then you have you can have a conversation with them face to face. I love Zoom. Zoom has been phenomenal. All these virtual meetings have been great, and we've adapted. But I'm tired of it. I'm ready for these personal relationships. That's what this is all about, is building relationships with these kids, and being able to sit down and try to have lunch with somebody and have a conversation about life. When you install plays, it's so much different to install plays in person without, masks on, and be able to see reactions and how they smile or how they don't smile, and how you smile as a teacher and don't smile. It's just crazy how that works, but I'm ready for the real deal. And so being here in person allows us to have that on the field, which I couldn't have virtually.
Mark Potash?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Good. For kind of following up on what Hub was asking about, from your seat as head coach, how delicate is that balance between sticking with the apprenticeship plan for Fields and also giving yourself an opportunity to see if maybe he might be ready sooner than you think? In other words, and kind of more specific to what Hub was asking, will Fields get any first team reps between now and week 1?
Right. So what I would say is this is as we work through with Justin and where he's at with this offense, we know that it's going to take a little bit of time here in this offseason as we get into training camp. And so Andy is the starter. Andy's going to get the 1 reps. And what we're telling Justin and Nick to do is make sure that they're doing everything they can to try to be that guy. And that's that competition part. And I know that for everybody, the biggest question is when is that going to happen? When you go up to draft a quarterback like Justin, everyone's very excited and they want to know when. And trust me, we all understand that. But we need to make sure that whatever that plan is that we put together, that it's the best thing for the Chicago Bears. And I think the easiest way for all of us to simply think of this is it'll all happen for those quarterbacks. They'll all play however they're supposed to play, and we're all going to see whatever we're supposed to see. And then it's our job as evaluators of who they are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make the Bears the best team possible. That's it. And go ahead.
No, do you have to temper your own eagerness? I mean, you're a quarterback's guy, and this is kind of your baby. I know there's a plan, but do you have to temper your own eagerness to see what you got?
Well, I have to do that for all the guys, and I say that and I mean that. So we have a guy like Andy that's coming in here that's eager to learn this offense and show what he can do, and also help groom Justin. Be able to help him and let him be the best quarterback that Justin can be through the experiences that Andy's had. So I know the time is the biggest question right now for Justin, and I completely understand that, because like you're saying, Mark, there is an excitement, and there is that want for all of us to be able to see what Justin can do. We'd be lying to you if we didn't say that or believe that. But we got to make sure as we go through this thing that we also do what's best for the Bears and for Justin, and so that's where I think as time goes by and we see how things go, we'll know and we'll all see it and feel it. And I think it'll be very natural how this process goes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Colleen?
Hey, Matt, just over the next 10 days until we talk to you again at OTAs, what do you want the focus to be for Justin? Where do you want to see him kind of making steps forward?
So, Colleen, what I would say is the mental part of getting in and out of the huddle and having that I know you guys heard Flip say the first wide vision. So when the play's coming into the headset and then you call the play and you break the huddle, when you walk up to the line of scrimmage, when you're in the quarterback position, it can feel like you don't see anything. You're trying to think in what you saw in the installs and you're trying to figure out what's going on, but you really need to be looking to your first wide vision to the right to see if your Z receiver's off the ball and your Y receiver's on the ball. Is your X on the ball? Where's your running back? Okay, where's the mic at? And now, okay, I got the 40. I got to call it before the play clock runs out. And then, post snap, there's a disguise in the read with the progression of the defense rotation. So I want to see that speed up. And I think he's done a really good job so far in what the little bit that we've seen in this rookie minicamp of doing a good job post snap vision, which was a strength of his in college. So that's just got to continue to speed up. And, he's going to get a great opportunity to do that against our defense. And I think that's where we're going to have to see, okay, are there a lot of mistakes being made, or are there a lot of good plays that are being made? And is it natural and is it easy for them? And that's where we'll evaluate and see. And again, you'll know when you watch it, you'll see it, and we'll all feel it as coaches.
Matt, you said earlier that next week and the coming weeks after that, we'll have a lot of mental stuff and maybe not the regular amount of physical stuff. What's the rationale behind that? And is should any of that be considered some sort of olive branch to try to encourage participation?
No, there's no encouragement, Pat. What I would say is for us, it's more about just being able to see these guys and where they're at so that we can quote unquote ramp them up. We want to make sure that they're physically in the right place. And there's going to be some guys that come in here that might not be in good a shape as some of the other guys. So we got to balance that, because if we go too hard, now you get injuries. And that's the last thing that we want in this. Plus, when you have an off season, this is your chance as a coach to be able to get these players that you want to continue to develop as young guys, but also continue to grow as older veteran guys within your system, to really hammer down the details of what you try to cram in training camp. And everything goes so fast in training camp, and it's just 100 miles an hour. Before you know it, you're in week one. this is the beautiful part of the off season, is being able to like take the mental reps and really take your time and break down a philosophical view or belief of some part of a play. And it might not be the 4 routes or 5 routes together, but it might be 2 routes versus a certain coverage, and teach it and let them understand it so that when it happens in training camp and happens in the season, it's easy. And so we're not out here to try to condition and beat people down and just see what they can do or not do. This is what we are as an organization deciding to do. So the enticement has no part. This is for us, and this is the plan that we've put together to make sure that we're effective and productive in making this team better.
Jason?
So Matt, how much on-field work do you plan to do in OTAs and minicamp then?
Yeah, there's still going to be the on-field work, Jason, and there's still going to be full speed stuff where we're really trying to get that timing that we're breaking down on the front end. Okay, now let's section it and take it full speed within the rules and check it out timing wise. What I'm saying is we might pull back the volume a little bit of how much we do based off of where they're at and how they feel, feedback from them of where their bodies are. And then we can temper that and take that into where we're at in the training camp. But whatever the rules are that permit, we're using that, but at the same time, we're making sure that it's smart for our team and for our players.
You're supposed to have practice next Tuesday. I mean, how will you, I'm sure you're not just going to go set up the cones and see who walks out there. How are you going to find out? When will you know whether you're going to have enough players out there to do a normal practice?
Right. Tomorrow we'll probably know a lot, is my guess, with the guys that are coming in or not coming in. And we as a coaching staff are going to be prepared for a lot of different situations, because we have to set up all these schedules and make sure that everything is, number one, within the rules and the limits, which there's a bunch of them, which is good. But okay, now if X amount of players come, if X, Y, and Z come, we got to know, okay, how do we react to that? So there's a little what if to that. And then I think probably as the days go by, we'll have a really good feel. And that's yet another reason why we're going to really focus on the strength and conditioning part, Jason, and get these guys, see where they're at, and let Jason Lascalzo evaluate them there. And then, do a lot more class on the grass mentally, and then just slowly ramp it up and see where they're at. And hopefully by the end of it, we're doing more field work and the guys feel good, and it feels like a win-win for everybody.
Mike Berman?
Matt, I know you weren't there in person for the first 2 days, but combining what you saw virtually and then today, what stands out about what Justin Fields showed you? What's that big impression that you take away from your first time seeing him in a Bears uniform?
Yeah. So Mike, the first 2 days being virtual, I think that the first day I was impressed with not just Justin, but everybody. It was sharp. I thought it was really clean, and that doesn't always happen. With him specifically, what I noticed was the speed when we were in our team periods, the speed on tape didn't look too fast. A lot of times a quarterback can go to the wrong read. A lot of times the quarterback's thinking about, how do I take a snap and get the snap, and where do I step at the clock at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock before I fake the play action? Where do I snap my head nod? Like all that stuff that we teach him, he did the first day fairly easily, in an easy way. That's what we look for. Are you coming back to the coach every 3 plays, asking him to repeat the play call because you forgot what the play call was? Or is practice going pretty rhythmically because you're going in and out on every play? He was. That's a win. In person today was hard for me because it was just everything was walkthrough, but the stuff that we did, again, there wasn't much of that at all. And it's not just him, it's really everybody that's done a great job with that, which is great.
Joe Lewis?
Yeah, Matt, you talked about the competition at quarterback, but what I want to ask you about is the competition in wide receiver and running back.
Mm-hmm.
Adding Daz Newsome and Khalil Herbert, you all have a pretty tough challenge ahead to decide who gets to stay and, of course, who will make the active roster. What are you looking for in regards to intangibles and skills within both of those positions right now?
Yeah, for sure. Number one, from your comment, I mean, that's what we're trying to do is create depth at every position, but specifically at wide receiver and running back versus where I think we've been in previous years. Our depth right now is really good at those two positions. Starting out with wide out, I mentioned yesterday that we really feel like we've strengthened that room and done a good job. A credit to Ryan and the personnel to bringing in guys that can really come in and compete from day one and make everybody else better, which is what this is supposed to be like. If you talk to the guys that have been with us for the past 2 or 3 years, they're going to tell you they want that. It makes them better. So now we got to decide, okay, just like Justin and these other rookies coming in, they're learning this offense for the first time. Well, so is Marquise Goodwin. So is Demir Berg, right? So are some of these other guys. So when they come in, they can't play as fast as, Anthony Miller, Mooney, Wims, Ridley, A-Rob, it takes them a little bit. When there's a conversion in a route, what do you do? So what's their learning curve going to be? Well, we think it's going to be pretty good, which inevitably is going to push all these guys. We talked about it today as a staff. This evening, we're going to get together and talk through exactly what you're talking about with those wide receivers. Like, what are our personnel groups going to look like now that we have the depth we have? When guys go in with the first group, the second group, the third group, running back, right? With what we've done there with adding Damian Williams, a guy that you see what he's done in his previous years, going back to Miami and bringing an element of speed to the offense and different things like that. And now we got Khalil Herbert and of course we have Ryan Nall and Pierce and our with Tariq and David, that's without stating. I mean, so there's depth there. There's a lot of guys. And so that's a good thing. And we hope it makes us better. And now it's just a matter of fitting the pieces.
We'll take one more. Mark Grody.
Hi, Matt. You said you guys had a light day today before jumping in tomorrow. Is the plan to do like a full speed practice tomorrow? Or how do you characterize that?
No, tomorrow is going to be, I guess, percentage wise, you could probably say for simplicity, more 75% strength and conditioning, and then 25% football. And of that 25% football, it's going to be heavy class on the grass, walkthrough, mental. So we're going to, these guys come in, we want to see where they're at physically, offensively, running routes, whatever we can do on air, which are the rules. But a lot of it for the first week is going to be strength and conditioning and mental. And then we're going to slowly ramp up into more as we go.
Thank you.
All right. That's all the questions we have. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Take care.